Hey, Slapnuts, before we get into another part B portion of the episode this week for White Heat, let me talk to you again. Let me talk to you about Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia. I'm sure JJ loved me doing an LA Knight impersonation there. But Eddie Hooser, you know, we've been talking throughout the summer about it being traded season. It's still that time of year. You still have more time to trade that vehicle in before all the 2022 start coming into stock at these dealerships, and they try to hard sell you on those instead of really focusing on what you really want, which is a used vehicle, lightly used preferably. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. They want to sell you the latest and greatest and not what works best for you. Well, you won't get that run around at Mohawk Honda, and they also have the best inventory to choose from. Not like some of these dealerships out here who they'll gladly take your vehicle and give you money for it, but they ain't got jack shit to give you back for a vehicle for your family after you traded in your vehicle just now. That's why I need to go to Mohawk Honda. The biggest inventory of certified pre-owned vehicles and the best inventory of certified pre-owned vehicles anywhere, not just in upstate New York, but throughout the Northeast. So I don't care if you're coming from Lake George, if you're coming from Buffalo, if you're coming from the Hudson Valley, hell, maybe you're in the Berkshires in Western Massachusetts, or maybe even in this great state of Connecticut where JJ is. Get your ass to Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, Glenville, where they're going to take care of your values and focus on getting you a vehicle that fits your lifestyle the best, whether you got pets, kids, both, in-laws, whatever. They will take care of you properly. Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Scotia, where they always go out of their way to please you. Also, a special reminder of our friends over at Johnstone Supply, 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, for all your HVAC needs. Now, granted, it's getting towards the end of summer, so things are going to eventually start cooling off once we hit those fall months of September and October. But if you are having issues with your AC unit, contractor, contactor, whatever it may be, they have parts in stock at Johnstone Supply. Plus, they have brand new units if you want to replace your unit completely. And of course, like I mentioned, as it starts getting cooler, you got to start thinking about keeping your place warm for the winter. And they're going to start getting those things out in full supply. Maybe you want to get ahead of the curve even and get that radiator checked, get that hot water heater checked, whatever it may be. Make sure you get things checked out by Johnstone Supply, 2600 6th Avenue in Troy. Check them out. Let me talk to you. I'm just trying to get a rise out of JJ. Sorry. Welcome again. Part B of episode 15 of White Heat, here presented by Godzilla Media. And as always, sponsored by our friends at Mohawk Honda and Johnstone Supply. I think I've gotten enough of the ass kissing out of the way, so I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah. But yeah, so I think we're good to go. It's been a weird last 48 hours, to put it lightly, and we'll get deeper into that at the end of the show. But before we have a job to do. The show must go on, and that's how we're going to carry it on right here. Let's just jump right out into it and get into something you started in episode 14, our last full episode. You mentioned how you watched the debut episode and the obvious holes that existed within the stories being presented within the show that is Heels, the new Stephen Amell pro wrestling TV show. You said you'd let me know before we started rolling here that you watched the second episode over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Did we get any better? Did we get any worse? Are we still on a level playing field with how you're feeling?
This episode wasn't... It focused more on like the characters outside of the business than it did, but they still had like major errors in it. Like the whole thing was like the brother who fucking got humiliated, like fucking finds out that they don't want to fucking take him into developmental because he fucking, not because of the match, because afterwards he literally broke down crying in the middle of the ring while people were throwing garbage at him afterwards, and goes on a drinking spree and goes to a bar and ends up getting it. What do you call it? His brother tracks him down. They get in a bar fight because the local guys from fucking high school are just like, wrestling's fake. You guys can't really fight. So they get into a fucking bar fight, and then they get kicked out, and then they're outside, and the chick, the valet, the one that isn't getting accepted by anyone, like they go to have another fight outside, and she just like they get ready, and she just pops out and fucking Hurricane Rana's this guy, like out of nowhere, and she was like, "What do you finish her?" I'm like, "Really? Like this is how we're gonna play this?" Like, I'm gonna get in with the boys by jumping in a bar fight, doing a move that no one would ever do during a bar fight, and then claim that a transitional move is a finisher. Basically, this episode was like filler. It did nothing. All it did was like, oh, well, this one wrestler who said he was retiring on the last show because his wife is having a baby. The wife's in labor. So basically they all kind of like meet up at the hospital, and they're like, we're all family, so we've got to stick together. But then they show the preview for the next week's episode where they're back in the locker room. They're all like, you're a bitch, fuck you. You're a bitch, fuck you. Like,
So you're saying it was a flawed character development episode?
Yes. And the next episode is where we get to see CM Punk, where I've seen the previews, and it is utterly ridiculous. Because Punk doesn't play himself. He plays a journeyman indie wrestler that comes in to pop the house because he's popular in the territory. And just from the preview where he plays this guy named Ricky Rabid, who like comes to the ring with like squirrel pelts all over him.
Huh.
Like, it's the most fucking Memphis late 70s carny shit. And you're trying to make me believe that this is an over character in 2021. Exactly.
Yeah, what Titus said. Yeah, that's kind of fucking weird, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Anything else, or?
Nah, there wasn't a lot to the episode. It was a filler episode, and that's not really smart to do. Your second episode into the damn show.
Depends on how well you execute the first episode,
which wasn't good.
Right. So there's shows that can get away with it. Just the way that it sounds like the debut episode was executed, that wasn't the best. I don't know. Just not the best idea, apparently. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it open-ended to you as to the direction we go in. Strictly outside the ring stuff. Do you want to go WWE direction? Do you want to go AEW direction?
I mean, there's only one thing that anyone's talking about with AEW, so we might as well leave that for afterwards.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. All right, we'll do that. Okay, so let's just go into WWE talk quick then.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah.
Before we get into the obvious story that needs to be addressed from SummerSlam weekend that was outside the ring that we haven't gotten to yet, which was the Nick Khan interview. We'll get to that.
Oh, God.
We'll get to that in a few moments. The outside the ring story I want to bring up. Well, it's going to involve inside the ring, but it's something that's being reported. Nothing that WWE has officially announced yet, but there's discussions apparently, and I would assume by this point, if the discussions are still going on, they're either final by now or they're pretty damn close to being final if they've made a decision. Um, there's talk of King of the Ring tournament coming back.
Oh, that's
and
King
the
Angle.
finals. Okay, and the finals being done in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
in October, I believe that show is going to be.
Yep.
Which
Mansoor wins, lol.
That's where you lie. I understand that. That's one part of it. But here's the other side of it. Like, I understand WWE, they announced more dates for touring for the fall, which is great. But considering the potential secondary wave we are potentially in the midst of right now, not so sure going to Saudi Arabia in October is the greatest idea in the world.
Me neither, but
money
it's safer than going to fucking Florida or Texas.
I don't. It's not even so much the in Saudi Arabia part. It's just the idea of traveling in general. Like, it's bad enough right now that you're traveling within the country. Now you're potentially going to be traveling, and if, God forbid, any of your personnel, and I'm going beyond wrestlers at this point, I'm talking stage crew, lighting crew, camera crew, whoever the fuck. God forbid any of them come across anything in the midst of traveling. Now you're bringing it across borders.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just,
especially with what got announced yesterday.
What did I miss yesterday?
Pat McAfee tested positive.
Oh, well, yeah. I think the best way to put it is it's mildly irresponsible for them to.
I can see that.
Now, do I see them canceling? No, because money, lol, you know?
Yes.
Just the simplest answer possible. It just sucks to see that people are going to be put into potential danger for the sake of Saudi blood money, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That's just it just kind of tweaked me the wrong way. I'm not sure how to feel about it. Obviously, this is something that's going to be a continually developing story, depending on A, if they even announce the tournament happening, and B, if they run it, if they're still going to do the ending in Saudi and whatever. So, this is obviously going to be something that we're going to keep an eye on over the coming weeks to see what they do booking wise, and if they continue to keep the Saudi show, which, like I said, I would be more shocked if they cancel it than anything else.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this interview. Nick Khan sat down with recently released from ESPN Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
Which, talk about a bitter divorce. That was, if you're into keeping track of sports media personalities and their movements in and around the business, Ariel Helwani's divorce from ESPN was quite interesting. I would suggest you go read up on that. Any hooser. So Ariel Helwani is pretty much freelancing more or less, but for this he was working with BT Sport. And he sat down with a number of different wrestling personalities. And then one of them being Nick Khan from WWE, the WWE president Nick Khan. So I'm just gonna kind of go through, like, basically, if you Google Nick Khan interview,
you'll find it.
There's so many different goddamn headlines from that, including apparently Tony Khan doing a reaction to it, which I didn't know about. Which honestly, I don't even want to touch it.
Oh God, that was so stupid.
So here's the long and short of what's come out from there. So first off, Nick Khan was very open in that
he hates wrestling.
We'll get to why your interpretation of that in a second. So essentially, he said, he basically said that if anything bad happens, and this is me paraphrasing, when anything bad happens involving the company, I want the blame. Whenever anything good happens, I want none of the credit. Which is such fucking weird. Let me rephrase. As a general person, that's some fucking weird logic. As an executive, I understand the logic. Because what he's basically saying is, whether it be somebody in the ring or something outside the ring, give me the heat.
Yeah.
But if something good happens, whether it be earnings reports, whether it be ratings, whether it be high quality matches, put all the praise on the underlings. Which, as an executive, I understand the logic. So, for me, it's one of those quotes where if you're just a fan, or you're just somebody who doesn't understand business models in general, you need to stop and think about the quote a few times to understand where he's coming from. Because honestly, that's what I had to do. Because initially, I saw the quote and I'm like, huh? And then when you think about the role he's in, then you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm okay with that quote. Or that general statement, I should say. But we're going to get stupid in a little bit. Secondly, he did eventually go into detail about rumors that started up earlier in the year about WWE being up for sale.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off this paragraph essentially.
Okay.
There's actually, let's see, there's 3 different quotes here, but I'm going to read the initial answer he gave, and then I want to see how you'd react. Originally, Khan gave Ariel Helwani a vague answer, and Ariel pressed like any good interviewer would, and this is what Khan eventually would say to start off. Quote, a couple of things on it. Number 1, when I say we're open for business, that means if someone credible calls on anything, NFTs, trading cards, international rates, we take the call. We're inherently salespeople, meaning we're not sort of like, no, we don't want to talk to this company. If you pitch us something and you're a credible company, we're going to hear the pitch. We're an entrepreneurial company that Vince McMahon and others have built over the last 35 years. Clearly, he doesn't know how long WWF has actually been around, but okay. WWE, excuse me. And we always want to stay fresh and entrepreneurial. In our minds, when I say open for business, if somebody credible calls asking, hey, are you guys for sale? It's, what's your offer? What are you thinking? So that was his initial response. Now, call me crazy. That sounded like a little deflection and still a little bit of a non-answer. I mean, am I wrong? Like, he kind of was answering it, but in a way, he was also deflecting it because he kept going to different directions with the question.
It basically, what that boils down to is that there's no offers on the table right now. And they're not physically saying, here's a for sale sign out in front of Titan Tower. What they are saying is, we're not going to say no if fucking Disney comes calling and says, here's fucking $30 billion. So we're not like, it's kind of like when you check the value of your home on Zillow. WWE is doing that on a daily basis.
That's funny because I've been looking at Zillow the last 6 months trying to see if we can potentially afford moving out of an apartment into a house. You're a funny asshole. Thanks a lot.
I didn't know that.
No. And trust me, we're not looking hard. It's kind of one of those things where, well, let's just kind of see what the market's like. And
it's hard. It's a seller's market right now.
Yeah. So it's yeah, that's all it is. So don't worry, you're not offending me. I just wanted to make you feel bad for half a second. All right. So, then looking for a more direct answer, Khan eventually added, quote, "We're not trying to sell. That's not our intent. There are no internal meetings about selling this company. The internal meetings are about growing it and the ability we think we collectively have to tremendously grow what the value of the company is now. People call all the time about all different things, but we're not in any active conversations about any of that." So essentially, we're not selling, but we're not selling, but if we feel like it's somebody credible on the other line, we're not going to say, hell no, and hang up the phone.
Right. We're not selling the house, but in the meantime, we're going to keep making additions onto the house in case someone comes.
Right. We're going to keep raising the value of the property while we're at it.
Right. Exactly.
Then this was something that I found interesting. So obviously, one of the big things that's been discussed have been all the releases that have happened over the last year and a half. Particularly the more impactful ones come in the last 6 months involving Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Joe being let go, then brought back, and then a number of other stars. So Khan, when asked about this, basically said that it's a collective group effort making those decisions, but ultimately, guess who the final decision is? Hint, not Nick Khan. Saying, quote, "There's a collective of us, and keep in mind in WWE there's one boss, that's Vince. So between Bruce Pritchard, who oversees the entire creative process, Kevin Dunn, who oversees all of our production, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, all were involved in these decisions, with ultimately Vince making the final decision on everything." And then he would also say, quote, "I think ultimately what's looked at is the person for us. Are they going to move the needle now or in the near future? We're always looking for what's next. We live in the present, but also in the future. We don't live in the past. So when people leave and move on in their life and careers, that's good for us. But for us, it's what works for us and our product at that moment in time. And again, what's going to work down the road. And largely in part, the existing roster is based on that."
Yes, we're not looking to the past at all. Here is John Cena and Bill Goldberg.
I think you're mildly twisting the words he means.
I know. It's just, I'm tired of hearing this "we're looking towards the future" bullshit, and "there's no stars today" bullshit, when there has been such a fucking track record the past few years of creative not knowing what the fuck to do with what they have and falling back on the tried and true shit that was effective 20 fucking years ago. And saying we're not looking to the past. But yet, every time the ratings start dropping, let's do a Legends Night. Let's bring back the McMahons. Here, let's throw money at Goldberg. Throw money at Cena. Throw money at The Rock. Throw money at Edge. I'm sorry, you can't have it both ways and try to act like you're looking towards the future when you want to fucking completely gut your developmental because you don't like because you have obviously got into a fucking pissing contest with Hunter one day and now don't want to let it go.
Well, he's not just saying. He's not talking about. I feel like the words are getting a little twisted here. And trust me, I'm not a guy that likes sitting here and defending corporate assholes. But, I feel like I just feel like the wording might have come out in a weird order, or maybe there was words missing in what he was saying. What I really think he was getting at is that they judge talents based on what they like. They're focusing on the future, but they address the future talent by talent. Like, the future is to be continued, to be determined, card subject to change. We all know that. That's the pro wrestling business. Whether it involves guys in their 40s and 50s that are working part-timers, like a Brock, like a Cena, like a Goldberg, whoever.
Yeah.
Or if it involves 20 and 30-year-olds, like the guys in the PC and the guys that are working the full-time travel schedule, like the Riddles, the Ortons, the Biggies, whoever. Like, that's the product. I think when he says, looking at the imminent future, he's not talking about that as necessarily about the product in general. He meant that more specifically talent when making those decisions. I don't think he necessarily was like, obviously WWE would love to have their product future with, booked with the future in mind, but it's hard to determine the future when you know what's credible right now, or what Vince feels he has as credible talent right now.
Yeah.
So if he feels like going back to the well with Goldberg or Cena or Brock is what's credible to him for now and the next 3 months, then he's going to fucking do it because he's Vince fucking McMahon. It's his goddamn company. And he feels like the imminent future is, I don't know, renewing Adam Cole's contract and putting him on SmackDown and having him get a run at the IC title for the next 6 months. Then he's going to fucking do it. It's a person-to-person judgment zone, essentially.
Yeah.
I think what Nick was really trying to get at, and that's where I think his words might have gotten a little twisted. Why am I defending a suit and tie prick like him?
I don't know.
Maybe just, I don't know. Am I taking the easy road here? I don't know. I don't know. Actually, no, I feel like I'm taking the hard road because 90% of the internet freaks are fucking going your route. As far as they're
going my route, but in a different fucking fashion. They're not using business sense. They're just using art sense.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was actually going to follow up with. So, another part of the interview, Ariel Helwani. God, I love Ariel. He essentially was trying to somehow get Nick Khan to say the letters AEW. More or less. To which Nick Khan eventually essentially calls WWE a racehorse with blinkers on. Or blinders. Whatever you want to call it.
Blinders. I was going to blinkers. What?
Well, the technical term is blinkers, but they work as blind. They're technically called blinkers, though. This coming from a horse racing fan.
I thought they were always called blinders. Okay.
Yeah, they're technically called blinkers, but the gist of what they're for is blinders. Yeah, and there's different kinds of. There's like 4 different kinds. Like there's the full ones where they really can't fucking see shit. There's like half cup, quarter cup. Sorry, I'm a horse racing nerd, so I won't get into it here. It's not for this show. Any hooser. So he says, when asked about acknowledging the competition, this is the quote. It's not what we do at WWE. what I do and what we do, we look ahead and where we're going. You've got to look at these things like a horse in a race. They put blinders on the horse. Why do they do that? So you're not looking back to see what the other horse is doing. If a horse does that, they'll trip and break their leg. That's a bit much. Wow, PETA, come after him. I believe that in my career, I've always operated that way, and WWE has always operated that way. We look ahead, except in the Attitude Era. So our decisions are based on what's best for us. Now, pre-2001, I would call that, quote, complete bullshit because of...
Yeah.
Just think of everything Vince did from essentially... The minute he took over Vincent J. McMahon's business, and turned it into what it became by 2001, whether it was getting talent, whether it was buying out TV slots from other feds, and putting respectable companies out of business, AWA, Mid-South, WCCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. I can go on and on.
All that shit. Yeah.
And then obviously it would be a bullshit quote, especially if you look at 1995 to 2001 with the Monday Night Wars. So supreme bullshit quote if it was during that time.
Yeah.
Then from 2001 to, let's call it 2019, viable, because there was nobody even fucking remotely close. Ring of Honor, they have regional TV contracts. They don't have anything national. MLW... Well, I mean, it's a national contract, but they're being broadcast on regional stations nationally. They're not being broadcast on like a cable broadcast network like a CBS, NBC, TBS, TNT.
It's on Stadium around here, but it's on something else out west. And
Right. It's a national group, but it's being syndicated on regional networks is what I mean, basically.
I mean, there was that brief time where they were paying attention to TNA, but I mean, TNA was still failing miserably by themselves.
It wasn't worth paying attention to.
They paid attention.
Let me put it this way. I don't feel like they ever came close enough to be worth paying attention to from a Vince perspective. But that's what I mean by that. I don't think they ever. I mean, certain talents going there might have bothered Vince, but the product itself never bothered Vince, to be honest. At least I don't believe so. What else? New Japan wasn't really a thing in the States.
Until streaming services.
Yeah, until New Japan World became a thing, honestly. What else? Eddie Hooser, you get my point. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of outlaws and rebels named Omega, Jackson, Page, and Rhodes, all of a sudden they want to get help from this guy who runs a football team and start a company, and they happen to land a national TV contract. Essentially, they woke up on third and thought they hit a triple. I'm not saying they're not looking. I'm not saying they're not paying attention at all. Let me reverse, because what I was about to say was actually the reverse logic I'm trying to give. They have to be paying attention at least a little bit. Not to the point where there's any concern. There's a difference between acknowledgement and concern. Concern existed when Vince was building 83 to 2001. Oh, excuse me. Concern was 95 to 01, the Monday Night Wars. He didn't give two fucks from 83 to 95. He couldn't have fucking cared less.
Yeah.
95 to 01 was concern. Everything else, not concerned. Fuck all y'all. We're not at concern level yet, and I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon, but there at least has to be acknowledgement behind closed doors. So and it's not by Vince, it's by people around him.
Here's the issue with the whole concern acknowledgement. I am agreeing with you, first and foremost. So basically, right now, we're at the same spot where Vince was in 1993, where Hogan and Savage signed to WCW, and Vince said, I don't give a fuck. And really, it didn't matter because nothing happened for a good 3 years. But the thing was, they kept the blinders on so long, saying shit over there doesn't matter, that all of a sudden they're right next to him. And that was why everything started getting fucked up. They have a chance this time around because really, like, places like Impact and places like that really were never a viable threat. Now you've got someone who's got fucking blood money to fucking burn, and a network. Well, they don't own the network, but they've got the network deal. Granted, Vince's mentality is it's TNT, it's Time Warner. They're the ones that ultimately have the reins. The problem is you're talking about someone who's got the money to burn, where if TNT said, fuck all y'all, and Warner canceled their contract, they could easily self-sustain and buy TV time somewhere else until they got another deal. That's what they're not considering. That's where the danger is. I'm not saying they're a viable contender right now. I'm not saying and I'm not saying their current landscape with what's happened the last 3 weeks is going to make them a viable contender overnight. What I'm saying is they're not having concern now could bite them in the ass again because they're not looking at the underlying factors.
There's one factor that works in favor of everything you just said. Yeah. And one that doesn't work in favor with anything either of us has said in the last few minutes. The one thing that works in our favor is that what's different this time than we'll say 25 years ago, there's no way Tony Khan can be bought out.
Right.
Because in the end, it's he's not being budgeted from a parent company. He's budgeting himself.
He's being budgeted by a parent.
Right. He's budgeting himself out of money from a parent
Daddy.
who owns an NFL team and a European League soccer team. So the money is going to stop coming in as long as those two entities. Right. Or worse, that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario.
Until he gets busted for kidnapping. Never mind.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't want to get us shut down for slander.
Best case scenario, Daddy gets to a point where he doesn't want to run shit anymore and just passes it on to keep it within the family. And so, because I'm trying to remember, it's the Jaguars, and I want to say the Fulham. I don't know if you're into European soccer.
Tony Khan likes dogs, yeah.
I think it's Fulham.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Fulham? Okay. And even if they got rid of the Jaguars, European Premier League soccer, Jesus Christ, the money pours in for that.
So see, that's the other issue is not only do they have the money to burn, but they have granted, it would look like they'll always, as long as they have the Jaguars, they've got a place to run.
Mm. That's true. Because they have Daly's place, and then worst case scenario, God forbid, you have the indoor Jaguars facility. If you really want to go indie looking on that,
Tony Khan could very well just blow his fucking load one day and say fuck it and try to hold fucking all in Jaguar Stadium and give away fucking tickets to try to fill the place just to be an asshole.
I'm an asshole. I don't know if you know that song.
Very
Here,
familiar
here,
with Dennis Leary.
very good. Here's the negative side to what we've been saying on this. And this is something we said time and time again. You can AEW, okay. I'm gonna officially say something I'm not sure either of us has said yet. AEW, we've called it an indie company that happens to have a national TV deal. I'm gonna take it one step further because the logic now makes sense when I say what I'm about to say. AEW is a hybrid of WCW and ECW. Corporately, pre-Time Warner buyout, corporately, very WCW. Open checkbook, go get who you want, blah, blah, blah. Creatively, and regarding the style of the product they're selling, very ECW, very niche, very high spotty. Obviously not to the level of extreme consistently that ECW produced, but as far as being a niche product that serves a certain demographic of audience that doesn't necessarily appeal to all demos, that's where they have the ECW part. So it's like as if Ted Turner and Todd Gordon had a baby and called it AEW. That's essentially what we have here.
I guess you could say that. I'd say more like WCW and UWF. Got a guy that runs it who has a coke habit.
Except I was gonna say I don't think Tony Khan. I don't think Tony Khan is getting penthouse suites with coke and hookers and openly inviting talent to.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of coke going on. You look at that. I can spot a cokehead from a mile away.
He could just be very, very hyperactive.
No. That's Coke and White Claw.
Did you say Coke and White Claw?
Oh, yeah.
Why White Claw?
Because he fucking posts his shit all the time of him fucking getting drunk on White Claw.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Okay.
Because he's a pussy who doesn't bring real shit.
Do you have any real shit?
Yes.
Lots. In front of you?
Not currently, no.
Oh, okay. That's what I was getting at. You ass.
No, it's too early in the day.
All right. So let's get to the part now where Nick Khan really sent people into a tizzy because people don't know how to take a fucking joke. Nick Khan saying he wanted Raw to be 4 hours and SmackDown 8 hours.
He thinks this is Sabado Gigante.
People, chill the fuck out. You're never going to see an 8-hour show, okay? No.
He said that in major hypotheticals with the amount of talent that we have. I wish the show was this long so that everybody would have a spot.
Which in that sense, okay, that's a cool guy. But from a monetary perspective, from I don't know, federal employment perspective, that's not going to work. No matter how much money could get thrown their way. Although I don't know, with Vince, never say never. Apparently,
no, because they'll just keep doing they'll just keep doing secondary shows like Main Event and 205 Live until fucking whenever they want. Like, do they still do Superstars too? I don't remember.
No.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I didn't even know about this part until I just looked at it.
Uh-oh.
We'll get to. There's one other part I want to get to, but this just popped up when I was scrolling through stuff for this interview. Apparently, Nick Khan revealed WWE is always in contact with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson about potential ideas for a return.
Well, yeah, we already knew that.
Let me read this quote and see what. Hold on. All right, so basically, what he was getting at was he was basically marrying together the fact that WWE is associate producing his TV show Young Rock.
Yep.
And then he was also acknowledging, ironically enough, Roman Reigns. Acknowledge me. And that's how that whole thing came together in the interview. Yeah. So okay, I can't get too mad at that. I could considering where it was coming from within the interview. I get it. All right, I get it.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. So let's get to the one thing that we haven't discussed yet from this interview. And I'm just going to address it by getting angry for 2 seconds. NXT does not need to be changed.
Oh, I agree.
What about the product you're serving on USA Network and the product you serve on Peacock for takeovers and special events? What the fuck needs to be changed about it? Like, that is Paul's baby.
Mm-hmm. And that's why.
Let it be Paul's baby.
He doesn't want to.
If shit needs to change, let him change it. Apparently, no. Now, there's going to be some kind of sweeping change in the presentation of NXT. And to what? To what?
My guess is, well, I mean, they started going back to fucking pre-tapes. That was the first step, which USA is already pissed about because they paid for a live show and they're getting delivered pre-tapes now. Because they just filmed, I think, 3 weeks worth of NXT this week.
Jesus. Okay.
Because they kicked out another dirt sheet writer. Now fucking, what was it? Now, what is it? Ringside News and Bodyslam.net have both gotten the boot from the fucking CWC and aren't allowed at WWE events anymore. Which sucks to be them.
Can't say I blame them, but anyways, go ahead.
Right. That's what happens when you get caught fucking writing spoilers to everything on your fucking phone during the goddamn show. Like, seriously, like, just, yeah, I get it. It's fucking pre-tapes, but, you know, spoilers used to be because it happened, because it could, you know, because, like, when they were pre-taping SmackDown on Tuesday and you had an arena of fucking 15,000 people, you can't obviously police everyone. It also didn't really matter at the time because there wasn't any competition.
Correct.
Here, you're getting people who are literally just typing up the spoilers of NXT to try to bring down the numbers of NXT because they're AEW marks. They're not doing it to be informative. They're doing it to be dicks.
Not that I agree with what I'm about to say.
They're doing it for clicks to their site.
Not that I'm agreeing with what I'm about to say, but can I provide a slight counter to that?
Sure.
Why does it even fucking matter if NXT is on Tuesdays and AEW is on Wednesdays?
Just because there's still people that are still holding this grudge about the Wednesday Night Wars that didn't exist. But it's basically just to try to drive down the numbers. And it's to try to drive down the viewership numbers and drive up the numbers to their websites so that they can get ad revenue.
Okay. Is there anything else aside from pre-tapes that I'm missing?
Not that I know of yet. I know that the contract with Full Sail is officially done. They're not coming back to Full Sail University. And
okay.
That's probably where things are gonna change because the last few months, what they've been doing is people have been parking at Full Sail and getting bused to the CWC.
Now that's completely out of the realm of possibility, I would assume.
Right. And there's not enough parking at the CWC. So what I'm guessing is, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try to.
What I'm guessing is, I don't know. That's a good answer.
Well, like,
I'm sorry. That caught me off guard.
I know. I don't know if they're going to.
Traveling circus?
I don't know about traveling circus, but I mean, if they're going to try to find like smaller like if they're going to go back to like the what was it? Like the Deep South or USWA model, where they're just like doing spot shows and not televise. Like they can't not televise. The animal has gotten too big for them to just stop that completely.
That's kind of what I meant with traveling carnival. Like, instead of them, here's my hypothetical. Instead of them going back to the weekend Florida tours they always did for so long, make those your Tuesday night show bookings. Like, use the state of Florida for your Tuesday night show bookings, and then if you want to do a weekend of house shows, go outside of Florida, but make Florida your Tuesday night bookings.
That's a good possibility, because that is what's missing right now, is that they don't have. They've only got TV to learn.
Yeah,
they don't. It's not the way it was before. Because like even in Full Sail NXT, they still did like spot shows around Florida. The thing is, though, that NXT has proven a track record where if you get arenas that are just the right size, they will draw a crowd. What was it? The spot in Albany, the Pepsi Arena, I think.
It's a Times Union Center now, but yes, you're correct.
Right, but it holds like what, 2,000 people?
No. I think you're thinking of the Washington Armory, which has had NXT house shows before.
Okay,
the TU Center holds 14, 15.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then it must be the Washington Armory, but yeah, they ran there.
And they ran there a couple of times, actually.
Right, and they packed the fucking house, and they were just house shows. Yep. So there's places across, at least all up and down the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Where NXT can run in a smaller venue and draw, bring in the revenue, and get people to watch the product. I mean, Christ, I was at Takeover in Bridgeport, and the place was sold out except for the giant section on Hardcam. Go ahead.
Take the AEW model and do it better.
Oh, with what? Doing fucking 85 squash matches before your main show?
No. Take the AEW model, meaning you look at the arenas they're booking out, 80% of them are college campus arenas.
Right.
And they're mostly focusing on Midwest from
the
bookings I've been seeing, except for when they go back to Miami in a month, I think.
Miami, Orlando, they're very Florida heavy.
They're basically Florida and the Central Time Zone is essentially what they've been mostly.
Right. Right. But I mean, these kids
dominate the coast and hit all the college towns if you need to.
These kids need experience in front of different crowds, because obviously the crowds at the CWC are very skewed.
I think the college towns would be very. I also think college towns could potentially be the right demo for that show specifically. Honestly,
oh, absolutely.
Because you're not necessarily going after families. You're going after like the AEW light crowds essentially.
Yeah. If I forget, remind me of that college crowd things later, because I have a bullet point that I want to bring up at a further for something else. Okay. But yeah, but they definitely, these guys, they need experience in front of different crowds, because the CWC crowd and the Full Sail crowd were both very skewed. Mm-hmm. They need to learn about travel experience, because these are guys that are they're just in Florida. They're not on the fucking road. Like, that's where you learn.
Which was a huge thing for them pre-COVID, was all the shit they were doing, going to going city to city with the takeovers, going to fucking
Right.
music festivals, going to they did it like 1 or 2 European tours at one point.
Right.
Huge shit for them.
Right. They need to do that. They need that experience.
Shit you can't learn by going to a performance center.
Exactly. You can't learn by going to a performance center.
Life skills.
Right. You can't learn by being able to punch a time clock at the performance center, go there to lift fucking 3 days a week, and then the rest of the time you're fucking tanning on the damn beach. Like, that's not how this works.
By the way, since we're talking about NXT, I have a little, I don't know where the fuck this came from. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw a picture on Facebook earlier today. Guess who WWE is marketing for like an autograph signing tomorrow? Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I saw about because his contract technically isn't up until the 27th. That extension that he signed was actually to the 27th, not to take over.
Oh Jesus H, that's boy. And the event's on the 27th. That's cute. You're funny. You're fucking funny. Annie Hooser.
I think it's that last. I think it's that. I'm pretty sure that's the. If he didn't re-sign, that's the last knife digging of. You're not going to see it like this again, kid.
Well, yeah, we figured that. All right, let me just check my notes real quick to see if there's anything else I wanted to bring up before we touch on. No. Okay, so let me just quickly go through what we saw on Raw and NXT so far this week.
Yeah.
And then we'll dive into AEW stuff. The fact that the first 45 minutes of Raw was devoted to LSD, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus made me want to vomit, but it was what it was. Apparently, they want to do to Karrion Kross what they tried to do to Hulk Hogan in 1990, which is put a helmet on it.
Why did they kill my boy? What did they do to my boy?
The rest of the look I don't mind. Like the leather shit going across him. Don't mind it because it goes well with the trunks. The helmet, though. What the...
That's the fucking Lord Tensai helmet, I swear. It's the Lord Tensai helmet with the Lord Humongous mask.
What is Vince's obsession with headwear? Like, I'm noticing a trend here.
He thinks he wants to go back to the fucking late 80s, early 90s, everything needs a gimmick shit. Because he thinks that's the only way to market people.
And it's not like Cross is balding. He shaves his fucking head.
Right. But it's like, everyone's got to look different, Pally. We can't just gotta have you come to the ring in black trunks. Because it didn't work for Austin or Goldberg.
I got nothing for that. What else?
Like
any sight of Logan Paul makes me want to vomit, so I'm not gonna bother acknowledging that shit. And they're taking the easy route. There looks like they're going to do Morrison face, Miz heel. That makes sense. Anything else noteworthy? I think Rhea. I kind of mentioned this in part A of this episode. Rhea and Nikki beating Shayna and Nia. The dynamic is potentially intriguing. Is it intriguing enough to warrant to A, bring in money, or B, get a women's tag title run? Upon secondary review today, when I rewatched Raw off my DVR, I need more evidence. For either of those things.
Yeah.
And then RK Bro, I laugh every time I see them on TV because it is what it is.
That was one of those times where, like I said, they keep going back to the well-on shit with that whole championship celebration bit to close out the show.
Yeah,
because they look back because the highest rated segment ever was the "This Is Your Life" between Rock and Mankind and blah blah blah.
And then guess what opened NXT the next night?
Celebration, bitches.
$1 million championship celebration, because fuck it.
Right. But it was fucking pointless.
Yeah, because it literally did, like, it was nothing. They literally came to the ring, they talked, they left. That was the whole fucking opening segment. Like, you accomplished nothing. They didn't even do the fucking... they didn't even do the swap out until a 30-second bit, like, an hour and a half later.
I told you it was going to happen.
Right. Yeah. The bait and switch is what I was trying to... That was the phrase I was looking for. The bait and switch. Yeah. Cameron gives the real belt, then Ted pretends to give him the real belt back, and it's really just a lightweight replica. Funny shit. If you didn't see it, go watch it. They keep pushing this shit out of Ridge Holland. Kind of expected it.
We got the British UE now.
Yeah, essentially. With yeah. Because
we got 3 British guys and Biff.
Pete Dunne's your... I mean, as far as the role being played, I'd assume you put him as your Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Your Fish and O'Reilly would be Biff and Danny. And then Ridge is your Roderick Strong, except with a few more inches in height and 70 more pounds.
Your actual strong.
And muscle. Yeah, essentially. I'm sure you were happy with Priscilla Kelly and her partner losing. I'm sure you're happy about that.
I want them off my fucking TV.
Well, it's not going to happen because it looks like they're going to be paired with Mandy Rose now. Sorry. Kaylee Ray wins her squash match. Joe wasn't a fan of his promo, honestly. I'm glad that Dunn, LA Knight, and O'Reilly helped it a little bit.
Hey, LA Knight had no reason to be out there.
No, but fuck it, because we don't know who's going to win or get a shot yet.
He lost his takeover match. He lost his fucking he didn't fucking get the fucking North American title when he was feuding for that. All of a sudden he gets pushed to the main. No.
It's just honestly, it's just filler because we all know it's gonna be Pete Dunne.
It better be.
Can we just be honest? I mean, you're not gonna put O'Reilly versus Joe right away. So it's Pete. No, I think they'll put O'Reilly.
Guessing what we're gonna get is guessing we're going to get a 4-way.
No.
We're going to get a 4-way to decide who faces Joe. And it'll be Dunn, Ridge. It'll be Dunn, O'Reilly, LA Knight, and probably Johnny. Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. I'm just saying the title match itself is not going to be a 4-way.
No.
I think what you see is... I don't think John. Well, if that's the case, I don't think Johnny gets the shot because he just had it against Cross before he lost to Joe.
Everybody had it against Cross or against Finn. Like, that's the problem that they've fucking encountered.
That was a very open-ended statement by
all of them.
That was a very open-ended statement by you, sir. You might want to be specific about what they had with Cross and Finn. You're not getting the sexual undertones. Anyways, sorry. That was a bad joke, I guess. Knight doesn't deserve it because it's L.A. Knight. So he's Dunn or O'Reilly. My booking, you put Dunn against Joe, O'Reilly against Ridge, and have Ridge beat the fuck out of him at a takeover.
Yeah.
That's just me. Our boy, Carmelo, let's go. Carmelo Hayes wins the breakout tournament finals. Now he's got a title shot in his back pocket.
I told you it's where we're going to be feuding for that North American title by the end of the year.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see him facing Kushida in a rematch potentially. But the paths of him and Swerve will eventually cross the matter of when and where. But we'll see. Yeah. Who cared about the other match? And then Legato beating Hit Row because lulz?
Because now they have a chick.
Which again brings me back to what I was saying to you. What? And that brings me back to what I was saying to you the other night. I'm telling you, you're convinced it's going to be Thatcher, Ciampa, and MSK against the British UE, and and Oni. I'm telling you, it's going to be Hiro and Legato in a War Games match eventually. I'm telling you, they just put the chick in. It makes it 4-4 with a chick on each side.
And you think they're going to be able to drag this feud out until November? Plus, they're not going to do a mixed match in the fucking War Games cage. They're just not.
I'm telling you.
Nope.
All right. I'm putting it out there. And who says that's be a mixed match? It'll just be 3-on-3, and they'll have the two chicks catfight on the outside. I don't know.
They won't do a 3-on-3 War Games. You crazy? War Games is always 4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
Okay, traditionalist, whatever you say. All right. Let's get to one of our favorite segments every week. AEWTF. Why? Because fuck it. Why not? Oh, real quick though. A quick question before we get to AEWTF. Can we just fire Eva Marie again already?
Please.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now AEWTF. That was quick. Where do I want to start? Start. Can we stop? Like, I don't remember, because I also watched Dynamite this morning as well, prepping for the show. I don't remember any off the top of my head, but can we please stop with all the pre-match attacks that seem to be happening?
That's AEW.
Like, do people not discuss their matches with each other?
No, they don't fucking care. Dude, every AEW fucking match either starts with a pre-match attack, a jump start instead of a lockup, or it ends with an afterbirth. That's every AEW match.
An afterbirth? I don't think I've heard that phrase thrown around.
Where there's a run-in after the match.
I know what you mean, but I don't. That's the first time I've heard that phrase actually used. All right. Is that just a you thing, or is that an actual thing, by the way?
Actually, I think Cornette said that a few times too.
Oh yeah, that does sound like corny. Okay,
but it's what I would fucking call it, anyways.
Whoops. Okay. Yeah, it's just God. Put this fan on, by the way. Oh, much better. Oh, it died. No, it died. And I popped the. Damn it!
You need something with a USB charge.
It did, but I didn't think it would die that quick because I had it on last for part A. Oh well. Guess what a shit charge that kept. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. What else we got here? Can we stop the? Even though I kind of brought this up and shot myself in the foot with it last week. Can we stop talking about Bray Wyatt potentially talking to AEW? I know that seems to be like the hot story everybody wants to talk about because the Bryan Danielson well has dried up for the time being.
Well, supposedly Impact is really after him.
I don't know.
No, there's going to be this talk until the end of October because that's when his 90 days is up.
I don't know. I just don't see it.
No, he's not. Like, if they don't re-sign him to just a lower end deal in WWE, if they don't bring him back, I'm pretty sure he's done. I'm pretty sure he's got fucking Bo retired. Like, he's going to be like, something, I made my money. I'm going to go live with my family. Let them come knocking on my door in 3-4 years.
And while we're talking about talents that WWE released, can Braun Strowman stop posting thirst trap pics on Twitter? That's all he's fucking doing these days. He's going to the gym and then he's posting a thirst trap pic of himself in the mirror before he leaves the gym. That's all he fucking does.
Because he can. Because he's bored.
I don't give a fuck how ripped you are. Like, go do something. Go play softball. Go pull a Sid. Go play softball or something. All right.
Softball.
Fuck off. Although, did you actually watch AEW at all?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming you saw the Punk promo.
Hi, I'm Tom Hanks.
What the fuck does that mean?
I was gonna leave it for when I actually went on the entire rant about Punk, but I'll give you this little tidbit.
There's an entire rant about Punk for this episode, or something, or somewhere
for
down the
this
line.
episode.
Oh, okay. Well, you can just go ahead and go into it now if you want.
Well, no, because we'll cover Dynamite, and then because I would just want to cover Punk as one entire entity, but there's this one little part.
I don't really have anything else except for one more thing, I think.
Okay, well then we'll get back to Punk. So, as far as the rest of AEW went, they need to. What do you call it? They still haven't learned how to hire a production crew that knows what the fuck they're doing. I don't know if you know, it's like because you probably fast forwarded and shit, but they fucked up on the picture-in-picture shit again, where they're like, "We got a picture-in-picture," and then they just went silent, and it was another 30 seconds before they actually went to the picture-in-picture.
I miss that because as soon as I hear Excalibur say picture-in-picture, I start fast forwarding.
Yeah, it was during the Red Velvet fucking Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they fucked up on that, and then they fucked up during the picture-in-picture and went to just regular commercial. Like, the production crew doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, dude, you guys have had your show for 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Like, you should know how to time. Not to mention, they don't have production meetings. Because if they did, they wouldn't have to go to picture-in-picture on every fucking match. WWE knows how to span it out so where they're like, we got to go to a commercial during this match or this match, but they know how to time the commercial breaks so it's not always during a fucking match. AEW doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah,
there's a picture-in-picture break during almost every match.
Yeah.
Like, that's annoying as shit.
That is a problem.
Yeah. Fucking the whole freaking the fucking tag title shit, like, so we're gonna end up having Lucha Brothers versus the Bucks for fucking the 8,000th time. But people always say, oh, you know, AEW doesn't repeat matches. Which is bullshit. Because how many times have we seen Nyla Rose versus Britt Baker?
A few times, true.
Exactly. And that's fucking... Their whole contention for their women's division is just so stupid. It was just like, oh, like, so here you have Red Velvet, who was just the #1 contender for the women's title, who gets screwed and then loses clean to the chick who hasn't been on TV in 2 years.
Seems legit.
How does that? Yeah, that's completely legit. Not to mention, okay, one little thing. Don't come out to the ring in an apron claiming that you're hailing from your mama's kitchen when, bitch, you need to eat a fucking sandwich. Sorry, but you look Ethiopian. Like, eat a fucking sandwich. Like, and when I hear hailing from your mama's kitchen, Red Velvet, I expect like someone like fucking like someone at least half the size of Awesome Kong to come out. I don't know, that's just me. Maybe because I know how to, what a gimmick should look like when you hear a gimmick. Fucking speaking of, what the fuck is fucking JD Drake doing looking like Great Value Amish Roadkill?
I don't know.
That it's like the wingmen, like, aren't they like someone else pointed? Aren't they like 0-8 or some shit? And they've only been on like Dark. So like, why the fuck are they on Dynamite? Because they just needed to feed someone to fucking Mox, Kingston, and Darby. Who? Why the fuck was Darby out right after the segment where he was being talked about by Punk? Instead of actually maybe having a face-to-face? Like, wouldn't it have flowed better for Punk to talk about Darby? Darby comes out, they have a face-to-face, not even say anything. But then Punk goes, I see you, kid, and leaves, and then out come Mox and fucking Kingston for the trios match. How hard would that have been? It was right there. Instead of taking 5 minutes for Mox and fucking Kingston's entrance to go to picture in picture right when the match starts.
Yeah, that what you the thing you just said kind of irked me. Like, John, move your ass. Like, I love you, but move your ass. Like, fuck off. Like, we got a deadline to meet.
Apparently, Mox has been relegated to I get to work retired Japanese guys. Like, why? Like, because Onita won't fucking work for AEW? So they're like, oh, well, here's another old Japanese guy. We'll give him to fucking Mox. Meanwhile, Onita's fucking working Tremont in fucking Jersey in front of fucking 400 people. So it's obviously not about the money for Onita. It's about the quality of the product.
Did they give a date for that match yet, by the way?
Halloween.
Appropriate. Very appropriate.
Sunday.
Even more appropriate.
Yeah.
All we need is a full moon.
To make the trek, but it's going to be, they're going to offer it on IWTV pay-per-view. So
all we need is just for it to be a full moon and all the creatures will really fucking come out for that show.
Oh, yeah.
This is not me mocking Tremont and Onita's audience, by the way.
Yeah.
This is just me saying,
yeah,
it all seems very appropriate. It's a nice happy marriage with all that.
But yeah, so we're going to get Mox versus Kojima, which no one asked for. No one.
It's it's all very odd. Like, he calls out Hiroshi Tanahashi for not getting on the plane to come to the U.S. Then Tanahashi comes to the U.S. to face Archer and beat Archer for the U.S. title, and then they feed Mox.
Because that whole Forbidden Door shit is bullshit. Tanahashi took the U.S. title back to Japan, so the AEW can't fucking taint it anymore on their program. And New Japan's just like, because fucking Kojima's retired. He's not under contract to anyone, so they're just saying New Japan sanctioned it because he's Japanese.
Fair. All right, let's get to it, because I know you want to. Go ahead, JJ.
I used to love CM Punk.
Used to be the operative phrase.
Loved him. Respected the hell out of him.
No, it's the past tense he's using.
All that respect went out the window at 10 p.m. on Friday.
On Friday?
On Friday. 10 p.m. Friday, the second his music hit. All that respect went out the fucking window.
I'm going to mute my mic for this one. Go ahead.
Number one, he didn't sell out the United Center. United Center, as we covered on this program, holds 23,000 people. They cut the arena in half, and it still did not sell out. There were tickets available the day of the show for $3 fucking. It was not sold out. They went down to $2 at the fucking beginning of the show. Number two, Tony Khan trying to pull that whole, we're trying to file for the Guinness record for largest indoor audience. Fuck you. You had fucking 13,000 people there. The fucking the pop that you claim you had was knocked out of the fucking ballpark Saturday with Becky Lynch. Now we'll get to the issue at hand. If Punk had just come out and said, I'm here for the fucking money, I wouldn't have cared. Because that's the fucking God's honest truth. No. He comes out and pulls the whole, I did this because I missed wrestling and I love the people. But no, you fucking don't. You made a living the past 6 years off of getting interviewed places and talking about how the wrestling business is dead and how you hate the wrestling business. And before you ever go into another ring again, it'll be too fucking soon. Then Tony Khan came with a fucking paycheck. All you got to do is say, I got a blank check from Tony Khan. That's all you had to fucking say. Don't give me this whole, I cried at my last Ring of Honor show. Well, motherfucker, Vince McMahon, yeah, I get it. You fucking had a bad fucking time. I get it. I get a lot of bad shit happened. I get that. But you don't get to sit here and not say that Vince McMahon didn't make you a household fucking name, didn't give you millions of fucking dollars, didn't get you fucking connected to your goddamn wife. Like, you can't very well just say that fucking 6 years of your life didn't exist. Or 8 years, whatever. Like, by saying that I left wrestling in 2005, blah, 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 and then sitting there and talking about, Chicago is my home and you make a hometown boy feel proud. You know what you did there? You shit on every single person that bought a ticket to Money in the Bank 2011. Because that was in your fucking hometown. And they fucking said, because they thought that you worked all of them into thinking that it was your last fucking match. And they were there and they pulled out in droves. That was a sold out fucking crowd. And that was a bigger sold out crowd in your fucking hometown. They gave you what you fucking wanted on a silver platter. So okay. So then here we go with CM Punk coming in with the same bullshit of every other fucking ex-WWE guy that walks through AEW's curtains. I wasn't used right. I was mistreated. Now I can be a real wrestler again. Fucking save it. We have heard it from every person that has walked through that fucking door. From fucking Andrade to fucking Aleister Black to fucking Cody to fucking all of them. Every fucking person that walks through that door going, now I can be who I really am, and now I'm here for the love of the sport. Motherfucker, if you fucking profess to love wrestling so much, you could have easily walked back to Ring of Honor anytime you wanted, because it wouldn't have been about the money. It would have been about the love of the fucking sport. You could have gone to fucking Japan. You could have gone to fucking Mexico and worked under a hood for the past 8 fucking years and had the time of your fucking life. No. It's not about the fucking business. It's not about the sport. It's about the blank check. Admit that, and I would have had no fucking problem whatsoever. But no, you have to go out there and be phony as fuck. You have to go out there and play the nostalgia act. I'm going to come out, and I'm going to do It's Clobbering Time, and then I'm going to sit cross-legged in the middle of the ring. I'm going to let me tell you a story. And then I'm going to, and there's ice cream bars. Fucking really? Like, yeah, they were fucking, CM Punk paid for everyone's ice cream bars. They were fucking Eskimo pie bars and special wrappers. Big fucking deal. It's not like you actually had like WWF style ice cream bars made up. They were fucking Eskimo pies. Fucking, like, it was pandering for the sake of fucking pandering. And so then it was like, okay, fine. You know something? I'm not going to harp too much on Friday because every worker that's still a fucking mark is out there going, oh my God, this is the greatest moment in wrestling. This is the greatest thing. This renewed my love. Fuck off. You're all, if you fucking sat there and were fucking so touched and think that this is the greatest thing in wrestling, get the fuck out of the goddamn business. Because you still should be buying a fucking ticket. Because you got worked and you got worked fucking hard. I said, something, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. Let's wait till Wednesday. Because Rampage already proved that, look, Rampage had 1.12 million people the first half hour, and then the second half, it dropped off by 500,000 viewers. Why? Because people saw what they needed to fucking see. So then here we go with Dynamite. So here we go. We're going to tease Punk. We're going to tease Punk until hour number 2. To get people to watch, which is the dumbest fucking thing you could do, because then you get people to actually see how shitty your product is. Because as I've said before, And I will say again, one person does not make a company. So then here we go. We have CM Punk come out with Tony Schiavone. All fucking happy, and let me build up the crowd because they're not chanting my name enough. And then say, "Oh, Tony, I can't hear you." And here's where we get back to, "Hi, I'm Tom Hanks," because I'm sure Brian is sitting there wondering where I pulled that from. You should probably unmute yourself, Brian. So, you know the Simpsons movie?
Yes.
You know the part where there's the commercial and it shows the kid looking at the crater of where, you know, the video for the crater of where Springfield used to be, and there's a kid there and Tom Hanks walks over?
Yes.
And he's like, "Hi, I'm Tom Hanks. The United States government has lost all its credibility, so they're borrowing some of mine." What did CM Punk go out there and do other than shill the fucking pay-per-view that's coming up? Nothing. "Hi, I'm CM Punk. This company has no credibility, so I'm loaning them some of mine." CM Punk is Tom Hanks in the Simpsons movie. If I already just put that sentence on Twitter, no one would understand it. So I had to give reference. But that's literally all he fucking did. He sat there and went, "Oh, I'm going to mention..." Literally all he did was mention like the last 4 guys that came out on TV. It was like, "Oh, it's Darby Allin and this guy and that. Who else was just out here? Them. They're the guys I want to work." Like, fuck off. You're there for a goddamn check. You are, and this, I said it numerous times over the weekend, and I wish I hadn't, because it was like saying Candyman. I kept saying CM Punk is AEW's Brock Lesnar, and then boom, here comes Brock. God damn it, I should have stopped saying that. Because look, he's there for he doesn't love the fucking business. He loves the money. Just admit that. At least Brock is a fucking cunt. Brock is a fucking worthless human being. But at least Brock has openly said, "I hate wrestling and I'm only here for a paycheck." Literally, CM Punk for the past 7 years has been, "I hate wrestling." And the fucking definitive moment that proved that was when he walked out on WWE Backstage on the first episode. Because Fox gave him money, and he went, "I like money. Sure, I'll come on WWE's show." You obviously proved right there, it's not about love of the business. It's about love of the fucking paycheck. Because you had no problem shilling WWE's product as long as WWE wasn't signing that check. Fox was giving you that money. So it's okay. But now, it's just Tony Khan's money. So, Tony Khan. Fuck CM Punk.
Interesting sound effect. Are you done?
I think that
Adequate.
The amount of venom that I have. CM venom. There's an old school fucking kick for you. Did that completely go over your head?
We'll talk about it later.
No, that was Punk's tag team partner's name when he first started in the backyard.
I know. Anyways, all right. This is the part of the show I was dreading.
Yeah,
you're dreading. So for the second episode in a row, we are not doing a hot list. For entirely different reasoning this time.
Yeah.
Not sure how this closing segment's going to go, but we're going to just kind of punt and see where the ball lands at this point.
Yeah.
For those of you who might not be part of the in crowd when it comes to indie wrestling, particularly in the Northeast, yeah, we lost a good one.
Yeah.
in the last 48 hours. In fact, I'll pop this up here. Um, Big Jym Anderson passed away a few days ago. He was also a punk rock singer and had a few albums put out. But most recently was more well known for his work inside the Squared Circle. And I'll just give my 2 cents because JJ has a longer working knowledge with Jym and has some stories he's looking to tell. But just from my perspective, real quick, it's interesting because I know when I first saw Jym, I wasn't sure how to approach, how to deal with, because obviously the first thing you see, big jack dude with tattoos. So even within the wrestling business, which is how I was meeting Jym, there's some slight hesitancy there because I'm just a ring announcer and a commentator, and this guy looks like he could eat me for breakfast. But then when you actually, say boo to the guy, come to find out it's, big old teddy bear, essentially, and with a heart of gold. And it's pretty much a universal truth that's been spoken about him in the last couple of days. I wouldn't say Jym and I were necessarily friends, because we didn't. We never really had a relationship like that. Plus, we didn't work a whole lot of shows together, so we didn't have really the time or the experiences together like one JJ Alexander has, which we'll get to in a second. But I still respected him. We were very cordial. And any friend of the people I keep around me in this business to this day, anybody at this point that's a good friend of theirs is a good friend of mine. And yeah, damn, this is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one. And JJ, I don't know if you want me to bring you back on camera, if you want to just leave this up.
No, you can pull it back.
Okay. So I'm gonna basically turn it over to you at this point. Not sure what direction you really want to go with this, but I'm gonna give you the floor and you go wherever you want to go, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a brief history and leading to actually knowing Jym. It was kind of funny. It was it hasn't really been documented on here, but I'm sure we'll get to it someday about how my inner circle does not get along with Northeast wrestling, and that's a whole story for another day. However, there was at one time when Jym first broke into the biz, and that was when we were working at NSFW, that he first started wrestling, because Jym started late. He didn't wrestle his first matches until a few years ago. And he pops up and fucking automatically, like, there were certain people who are just like, oh, they're taking shots at us because we had Big Jym Sullivan. And that wasn't the case, because Ron Zombie was the first to come to his aid and be like, no, dude, his name is Jym. Like, because Big Jym Sullivan's real first name isn't Jym. Like, he was just like, so you can't fault a guy for using his own fucking name. And it was kind of like, we didn't have any contact with him because he ran with that company and we didn't talk to people in that company. It wasn't until we really started working with ISW that we got to know him. We got to hang out with him because Two Fisted Law would always play the ISW shows in Connecticut. And so when we first started, working with Wood down in RPW, and we would come to the ISW shows and stuff, and that was, fucking see his band and started bullshit with them, and he was a great fucking dude. And it was funny how even like as we were learning he was a great fucking dude, there were still people that were still like thinking that he didn't belong with us. I specifically remember fucking Sonic the Hedgehog fucking sitting there going, look at his fucking shirts, they're ripping us off, because there was a Two Fisted Law shirt that was a Jack Daniels logo, and that's time there was a Defiant Ink shirt that was a Jack Daniels logo, and I turned and went, dude, we don't own fucking Jack Daniels logo, fuck off. Like, he's not ripping us off, his band did that, it has nothing to do with wrestling, shut up. But got to know him decent around then, and then basically he started working with us because he had falling out with Northeast Wrestling, as many people do. But like I said, it's a story for another day. And I was happy as shit to bring him in because he was a nice guy and he was close with Wood at the time, and he was, and the whole thing was, I think everyone figured right from the beginning we were just going to go straight to Big Jym versus Big Jym, and I said, no, let's not do that. That's what everyone's expecting. So let's put them together. So we put them together. And they had a nice little run that was sadly cut short by first Jim's knee injury and then COVID, and us not running. But who's not saying we weren't going to go back to it. In the meantime, the past year, especially, Jim got really close to us. Myself and the wife and Shell, and he was already close with Wood, because of certain personal issues that I won't go into here, but basically we kind of all had the same thing going on in a sense, and he became family. Try not to get choked up. Jim helped me move into my house. Like, because obviously I'm still gimping around and shit, so I wasn't allowed to carry shit or lift shit. So like we were looking to get help, and he was right there volunteering. And like he really shouldn't have been, because it was right before he was going in for taps down with his spine, because like he shouldn't have been carrying shit. Then sure, like we're taking like a breather and having a beer, and I'm sitting on my deck here in the back, and here comes Jim with our bedroom bureau, which is like at least 4 feet wide and probably about 5 feet tall, maybe a little more, and just him carrying it like nothing, walking up there. We're like, dude, that's a two-person. He's like, I got it. Like, dude, you're a friggin' dork. Like, stop it. And then, and then he was, because it was funny, because right before we bought our house, he had messaged me. He's like, oh, I'm moving closer to you. We're going to be neighbors. And I was like, what do you, he's like, I'm moving to Waterbury. I'm like, dude, we just bought a house. We're moving out of Waterbury. But I mean, he was closer than he was in being in West Haven. So at least he was still close by. So like we stayed in contact while he was recovering from surgery and everything. Because I mean, he was, he had to You know, it took him a lot to get back to. He was walking with a walker before he couldn't walk, and then he had a walker. And like his recovery time was quick shit. Before like we saw pictures of him back at the gym and shit, I was like, dude, you know, I'm proud of you, because holy shit, like we weren't sure, like he wasn't sure if he was ever gonna wrestle again, and here he was lifting weights, and he's like, I'm gonna get back in the fucking ring, and we're like, all right, cool, dude, you know, just pace yourself. You know, and then as I said, certain personal issues started going on, and that was when he got really close to, you know, he got really close to us. You know, so it was like anytime there was a pay-per-view or I was barbecuing or something, there was he was one of the few people that had the open invite to the house. There was one time where he was with Shell at there's a like a warehouse liquor store near us, you know, bigger place. And the two of them were basically like acting a fool in the liquor store, like arguing about some dumb shit or whatever. And Shell's boss happened to be there and didn't say anything. And then Monday, Mitch was like, oh, yeah, I saw you and a friend of yours at the Crazy Bruce's. And she was like, oh my God, I'm fucking mortified. Just because they were acting like goofs. But I mean, Jim was a fucking goof. Him and Titus here were fucking buddies. Like, I wish we had gotten a picture one of the nights where I was grilling and we had a fire outside, and you know, because you know our dog here has, you know, he has separation anxiety, so we really don't leave him inside alone when there's people here. So Jim stayed in here like with him, like while I was outside, and just come in. Here's Jim sitting inside Titus's armchair with Titus passed out on his lap. They were fucking buddies. Like, poor guy. He ain't been the same the past couple of days. He knows. But yeah, it sucks. I will say anybody that ever had a bad thing to say about Jim is someone that obviously didn't know him. And trust me, there's times where I've held back on here because there were people talking a lot of shit about Jim. And I just really wanted to shut them up. And I didn't, because we were being the bigger people about it. There were a lot of accusations thrown around about Jim that were not true. When people say the words gentle giant, yeah, that was Jim. Jim didn't raise a fist in anger to people, let alone women. And I will say that, I mean, not all details are out as to what happened. We have an idea of what happened, and it's nothing foul. It's just one of those things that just happened. He had too big of a heart, and he was too happy currently for anything bad to have been self-inflicted, for lack of a better term. He was happy. He was wrestling again. He was taking bookings every weekend. He was taking some bookings at little places he was happy being in the fucking ring, because by all means he shouldn't have been. I'm not saying that, like, just from judging where he was back this past winter, like, he had a hell of a recovery, and he was happy as hell to be in the ring, and it was keeping him active. He was keeping him happy. And he was doing 3-4 shows a weekend. He was doing double shots. Like, Shell had Sunday dinner at her place 2 weeks ago, and he was supposed to come, but he took a double shot booking. So he was on his way back from like northern Mass, and he was like, I probably wouldn't get there until like 11 o'clock at night. So he didn't get to stop by, which sucks, because it would have been nice to see him that night. but he was family. And I don't know what we're going to do without him. Because he was like, and I've said it, like I said it a little bit on the DPW page, but he was an integral part of a lot of people's lives that people don't realize. Like, he was supposed to be part of a friend's wedding that's coming up in a couple of months. You know, it's not, which is just, it goes towards, he did this was nothing planned by any means. I don't know. It sucks I didn't get to work more with him in the ring, because as a lot of people have been talking about, oh, I worked him on this date, or oh, blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, Jim was always fun in the locker room. I had more personal stories with him, but I would have loved to. We only scratched the surface. Like, there was literally that only that one match where it was the Revelation Defying Ink blow-off match, and he got brought in as the mystery partner. And that was really the only time we had any interaction in ring. And it sucks because I really would have loved to. I had plans for him. I had some big plans for him. But, well, we're just going to have to figure out where we go from here. We don't even have any word yet on funeral services or whatnot. We're just kind of taking it day by day right now. But I don't know. I don't have much more else to say about it other than that I fucking wish this shit wasn't happening. And I miss him. And I love him.
Yeah, and that seems to be the prevailing statement across the board is he's going to be missed by many. He's loved by many. And things are just a little less bright today.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Man, and full disclosure to everyone watching or listening, like, I only knew bits and pieces of what JJ just explained, so yeah, it's all just crazy. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it that we can understand as of now.
Yeah.
There's a guess, but again, it's just one of those things where when you die of natural causes and you're
right,
it's a sudden death, like, could be fucking anything.
Right.
But
I will say this, and I know I've said it to some other people, but there were times where he'd be sitting at my kitchen table and he would mention about, like, oh, my knee's been bothering me lately or whatever and everything. And I have offered him, I have some very mild pain meds. I'm not on anything huge. But I was like, listen, if you ever really need something, I don't have anything super strong, but I can help you. And he always said, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
He would rather tough it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the extent of which he was still being affected by what had happened to him personally. But if there's one thing in particular I would be willing to throw out there, He probably partly died of a broken heart, really.
Yeah.
And if I were to guess based on what you've been telling me the last 48 hours, that could be quite literal too.
Yeah.
But yeah. It sounds like he loved too much for his heart to handle.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So again, I know it's a somber way to end the show, but it's the only appropriate way for us to end the show today.
Right.
And I was all for it before I was all about it before we even discussed outlining the show today. So, yeah. So
all you can do really is everyone just, when you hear this, just raise a glass, open up a second tab on YouTube, find anything by Two Fisted Law, and crank it up.
Exactly. Is there anything else you'd like to cover quick before we wrap up?
I think we're good.
Okay. So that does it for part B of episode 15 of White Heat. If you want to follow us on Twitter, our handles have been scrolling throughout the show, but just in case you didn't catch it, I'm at Brian Cady, BrianCady. JJ is at JJ_Alexander. Emails, if you have any requests, questions, comments, brian.cady@godzillamedia.com. And if you're missing that information, it's in the description below.
Make sure to like and subscribe and click that bell.
Thank you. Damn right. Like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, if you're listening to us, the audio-only versions on Google Play, Apple, Spotify, rate and subscribe. Like and subscribe, rate and subscribe. It's all the same goddamn thing, really.
Yep.
Just ring the bell.
Yep.
Gotta ring my bell. Right. Sorry. I just had to make you laugh one more time. That's all.
Yeah.
So that'll do it. For JJ, I'm Brian. This is our friend, Jim, saying so long, and thank you for listening to White Heat and watching White Heat if you've been checking us out on YouTube. And we'll catch you at episode 16. See you, folks.
Later.